Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us tmosso at the 1916company.com. It is in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Reach out to tmosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details. Today, we're discussing a colorful 2023 release from a colorful character, the brainchild of Rake and Revolution magazine founder, Waco. This is the Chronoswiss Opus Blue Grail Watch 5, part of the Grail Watch series of collaborative design efforts launched by Waco and undertaken with brands that he deeply admires. The watch you see here is a product of the reborn Chronoswiss company out of Lucerne, acting in the tradition of its German founder, Gerd Rudiger Lang, who was above all an enthusiast of mechanical watchmaking and chronographs. He helped to start the independent horology movement in the 80s and 90s, and in 1995 he launched what many consider to be his magnum opus, the Opus. It was the world's first series production automatic winding skeleton chronograph, and one of the few truly enduring icons of Chronoswiss that has survived into its modern era. So the watch here is a little bit bigger than it would have been historically, and it's made of different materials. So out of grade 5 titanium that has been blued with chemical vapor deposition, 41 in diameter, 15.1 millimeters thick, and from lug tip to lug tip, 50.3 millimeters with a 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now, it's a big watch, but it's very light, being comprised almost entirely of sapphire and titanium. On the wrist, it's large, but purposely so. It's designed to stand out. It's not a shrinking violet. It's not a bashful timepiece. It is not for a shy man. Very much in the image of Waco himself. Now, you can see the timepiece does fit my wrist. My wrist is 16 centimeters circumference. I'm going to opine that with these Pastille-style lugs, the watch is probably best for a wrist of 16 centimeters circumference or larger. Now, it's neither thick nor thin, but it does have a rather sheer cylindrical profile, so it'll clear a dress cuff. It probably won't clear the tightest of dress sleeves. Down the barrel is going to be your true angle, so use that to judge fit on your wrist. Over the top always exaggerates the width of the watch. So here we have a combination of textile with leather, a suede texture on the bottom, a sheer cut side lacquered for refinement, a monotone stitch in medium blue, and as you can see, no crimping, no gouging. This is a brand new Chronoswiss factory strap. The watch comes with a buckle of similar material, also with chemical vapor deposition. You can see a combination of polish and media blast with a radial spring that helps keep this friction fit clasp closed resolutely when it is on your wrist. We should talk about CVD. CVD and PVD are two different things. So first of all, when you hear about something like DLC, diamond-like carbon, that's a material. When you hear of PVD, physical vapor deposition, that is a process. And so is chemical vapor deposition, which uses a gaseous medium to transmit often bright and vivid colors that defy PVD. And PVD also is a line of sight application, whereas because this is gaseous, it envelops a complex shape and coats and colors it evenly and completely. So that's the advantage of that process. You can see the Chronoswiss design language has been preserved from the Lang era. And you can see some of the elements of antiquity that Lang was acknowledging. We have a sort of coined bezel with Pastille lugs a la Breguet. Although he built his watches in Germany, he called his company Chronoswiss because he was paying tribute to the Swiss watchmaking tradition. And back in the 80s, when he was doubling down on mechanical, the Swiss were running headlong into the world of quartz timekeeping. So Chronoswiss was his way of preserving the good old days. And he was a chronograph specialist, notably with Heuer during the 70s. So those were the good old days in his view. So in the tradition of Swiss mechanical watchmaking, a lot of these elements drawn from companies like Breguet, including the onion-style crown. We have Patek Philippe's 1463 chronograph Tasti Tondi pushers. We have coining caseback and bezel. We have almost an officer's watch style of lug that uses screws and bars to hold the strap to the case, a more robust and secure standard of assembly than you'll find with spring bars. There is a combination of polish on the coining and then a vertical satin finish on the lug profiles in the case band, and that's unusual because we typically see longitudinal satin finish on this kind of a surface. There's a little bit of a camber to the crystal. On the dial side, sometimes a picture is worth 1,000 words. You can see absolutely no shortage of luminescence. Individual numbering, Atelier Lucerne. This is number Lucky 7 out of the 30 made. Now this dial plate features our chronograph registers as well as our running seconds hand, and then we have a pointer style date. Now, there is a hacking seconds function. There is also a quick set for the date, and it's fun because the modified date mechanism is a bit more animated and engaging than a standard circumferential date disc. Also, because of the layout of the dial, such a date disc would not have been practical, so Long created this adaptation on top of the 7750's quick set mechanism. And it is still his watchmaking that is being referenced on this watch. Now you can see gold gilding for what's left of the bridges and plates here. We also have some satinated steel components. You can see that the balance and the escapement are visible from the dial side, so you get a lot of fun of the tourbillon without the price of a tourbillon regulator. Turning it all over. Again, nicely skeletonized, and there's some thoughtful detail here, even though, of course, it is machine skeletonized, generally with electrospark erosion. It's still the attention to detail that matters. For example, take a look at the start-stop lever. Notice how it has been skeletonized as well, and that there is different finish for the lever itself, the lever spring, which is satinated in contrast to the polish, and then the hammer features satin. You can also see that the cam for selecting the chronograph functions has been beveled and satinated alternately, and you can also see that alternate satin and beveling is present on the reset hammer for the chronograph minutes and seconds at center. The winding system has also been skeletonized, so you can see it in action. You can see the reset hammer spring off to the side has been satinated. And then below that, you can see that the cam spring has also been satinated. Automatic winding, unidirectional action. It features a power reserve of 46 hours, and it is a 7750 architecture beaten away at 4 Hertz. They call this the 741S movement at Chronoswiss. Take a look at the case back. 100 meters water resistant. Put it on a different strap. You can take it swimming. You have the system that is germane to the 7750. You've got the cam chronograph function selector, and then there's a little wire spring and a lateral clutch that's known as an oscillating pinion clutch. And the nice thing about an oscillating pinion is that when you engage it, it has a lot less play than a conventional lateral clutch. So you press and you hold to start the chrono, and in general, it will start as smoothly as a vertical clutch. That's one of the unadvertised advantages of a 7750 architecture, and it's one of the reasons why the oscillating pinion lateral clutch has been taken up by high horology independents recently, including F.P. Journe, Richard Mille, and de Bethune. The seamless engagement of the oscillating pinion while preserving the beauty of the lateral clutch is considered to be highly desired. Lots to love here. The Chronoswiss Opus, and really the Chronoswiss brand, forging into the future in a 30-piece limited edition with Waco. This is Grail Watch 5. Reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.